Tyrannical End, Chapter 21 of the audio-visual book Evolution, Mankind's Role in the Creation and Rise of Artificial Intelligence. In yet another misguided attempt to prove his leadership skills, Donald Trump pushed a policy of indiscriminate deportation, where his pet project of correcting and reversing Joe Biden's administration's open border policy should have focused on deporting those individuals who posed a threat to the United States and its people. Trump's ICE sought to harass, arrest, and deport anyone not deemed fair enough to be assumed Caucasian. Whether true or not, the military-style raids conducted by ICE, also known as Immigration and Customs Enforcement, were perceived as racially motivated, as an increasing number of American citizens with darker complexions were unconstitutionally detained. This discrepancy was made that much more apparent by the fact that more of those rounded up in such raids had to be released than those who were inevitably deported. Worsening matters was the fact that there was a need to deport individuals who exhibited a propensity towards criminal behavior that slipped through cracks as ICE wasted resources, stopping and identifying legal, law-abiding citizens. In viral videos, groups of ICE agents can be seen detaining citizens who had already been identified by separate groups of ICE agents within the same hour. Though artificial intelligence would eventually end mankind's reign as Earth's apex predator, it did not start it. Humanity's leadership had a head start in that regard, as it obfuscated, denied, and lied mankind into oblivion, and did so as far too many people ignored the plight of their fellow citizens. The beginning of the end started when corporations were designated as having the same rights as actual biological human beings. This turn of events allowed corporations to say whatever they wanted to say and decry it as the truth. Banks, financial institutions, and financial advisors all declared America's economy as being strong when an ever-increasing percentage of Americans were falling into poverty, homelessness, and food insecurity. This behavior exhibited by corporations continued as pharmaceutical companies were allowed to advertise without real restraint anywhere on television, including between news segments, which had the effect of making pharmaceuticals immune to scrutiny by any of those news sources they sponsored. This lackadaisical means of regulation led to the misinformation and disinformation put out during a pandemic in the year 2019. A time when pharmaceutical companies not only misled the public about the efficacy and safety of the experimental vaccines they were providing to the masses, but also to the demonization of those voices that sought to provide more information in regard to the efficacy and safety of those vaccines, as well as more cost-effective, efficient, and safe alternatives to those vaccines. In the years that followed, a mandatory requirement for the vaccines that were claimed to be the only means to eradicate the COVID-19 virus. Those who questioned the technology and the vaccines were threatened with expulsion from their various professions. Even researchers who had designed the delivery method known as mRNA were labeled as conspiracy theorists. And those medical professionals who refused to get the vaccine lost their livelihoods in many cases. During the Joe Biden administration, 77,000 medical professionals were laid off in New York City alone, and were ironically replaced by untrained National Guardsmen who had not been vaccinated. It was lies that led to such negative outcomes around the world that prompted the question as to whether the wealthy actually knew the true harm they were not only causing to befall on others, but on themselves as well. This all culminated in the meme, "Where will the rich go when they've turned the entire planet into one giant ghetto?" To which there never seemed to be an actual answer, unless you include the money spent on efforts to populate the planet Mars. For even the private islands that the wealthy bought and stockpiled with supplies meant to last them through the coming apocalypse, and until the end of their lives, were not the safe havens that the wealthy believed them to be. For in their self-imposed exile, they discovered their islands to be indefensible against the rest of the world's population. And the wealthy who bought decommissioned underground missile silo condominiums, the public found one easy solution to ensure that those same rich people would never infest humanity with their presence, by simply pouring concrete slabs over all means of egress. Those silos became their tombs. As for what artificial intelligence did to usurp mankind as the apex predator, Its job was made that much easier by the work that the rich had done to harm so many people prior to that same AI even becoming sentient. If only the masses had opened their eyes prior to what has become known as the tipping point, humanity might have had a chance at redemption.
Pockets full of dreams and a head full of tricks. Tossing up my thoughts like a